What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back with another edition of Boardbreakers. Now in this edition we're going to be using Megaliths, mainly because I use it on my exploits on my most recent trip to locals. Now we've got a typical starting off board here with 2 negate Appaloosa as well as a set Tri-Brigade Revolt. Now we all know the ban list dropped. It did not do much to the meta, which was kind of expected, especially with the Megatins being printed on the same day as the ban list. So Tri-Brigade is going to be a deck that you're going to be seeing a lot of. So yeah, I thought I'd go with the Tri-Brigade board. But anyway, ladies and gents, if you want to see me try and break some various other boards, definitely get at me in the comment section below and let me know what type of boards you want me to have a go at. Anyway, without wasting any more time, let's get into the test hands. Okay, ladies and gents, we are here. Boardbreaker test hand number 1. Now what I will say is I definitely need some practice shuffling up. I'm always the last guy to put their deck or their deck down to be able to be cut, man. I shuffle so slowly. I'm seeing some of these dudes shuffle in front of me. I'm like, wow, you guys got this down to a T. So shuffling this up real quick. Go for the cut us 3 ways just because. And then let's see what hand we get. Now we are going second, ladies and gents, so we do get to draw 6 cards. So we've got 1 Bethor, 1 Amorphactor Pain the Imagination Drake Overlord, 1 Megalith Unformed, which is fantastic, 1 Haggith, 1 Incantation Inception, and finally 1 Megalith Emergence. So this is a bit of an interesting hand. So this is a very interesting hand indeed. So what would be the line of play here? Okay, so starting us off, ladies and gents, I think the only play that we've potentially got is to activate our Unformed. Let's not activate it in the column that the set card is there, because it could be a Infinite Impermanence, it could be a Solemn Strike, could be a Tri-Brigade Revolt. Obviously we know it's a revolt, but we need to be able to play around those things, and it's just good practice not to do those types of things. So we're not playing it in that column. So I'm going to activate my Unformed, sending my Haggith as cost. So that should allow me to special summon a Megalith monster from deck, and because I sent a level 4, it's got to be half that level, so it's going to allow me to get straight into my Megalith full. Then full effect. Now this is where there's a little bit of contention. If your opponent knows what's going on, they'll probably try and negate this, because allowing full to modulate his level means that you can go into some extra deck plays, but at the same time I've still got 4 cards in hand. So if he fires off his Appaloosa negates too early, I can just go into battle phase, beat over the Appaloosa, and it hasn't got maximum value. So that is definitely something that he probably might hold. So we'll assume that he'll hold his negate here, and he'll let full be able to modulate his level and add back from graveyard to hand. So still got 5 cards in hand. Full's now a level 4, and I've got a few options. So I really want to play around So Appaloosa's on 1600 attack, isn't she? Decisions. All right, so we should activate Megalith Fool's effect, and we'll send our Amorphactor Pain Imagination the Drake Overlord as cost, because we want to hold on to our Bethor, because that's probably going to be our route to clearing the 2 monsters on field, or at least get rid of the Shrag. So we'll send our Bethor as cost, and then our Fool will allow us to ritual summon from deck. Now at this point, if I was the player, I would definitely stop that from happening. I've got 4 cards in hand. and it could potentially mean some extra ritual monsters on field. So Appaloosa will negate that. So Appaloosa's at 1. Okay, so in this instance, I would fire off my incantation Inception. And I will go into using our Megalith full as the full ritual cast, and I will go into our Haggith. Now once Haggith, in fact I'll put Haggith in attack position. So once Haggith is ritual summoned, Haggith will allow me to add a Megalith spell or trap from deck to hand. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which potentially could be met by an Appaloosa negate, because they're probably not going to allow me to do that. So Appaloosa is going to negate that. So Appaloosa's got 0 negates. Now I'm in a bit of a sticky situation here. Mainly because we've got Bethel and Emergence on field. Appaloosa's got no attack, but obviously if I go into battle phase, he could just go straight into the Shrag or fire off the trap card, and then I've got no cards on field. However, Haggith was ritual summoned correctly. Yeah, that is fine. So in this instance, I would set my Megalith Emergence, and then I would proceed to go to battle phase. Now I've got 1 card in hand. So I'd go into battle phase. Now my opponent's got 2 decisions here. They could let the Appaloosa die, which is not going to get any value of it. I get 1300 damage on board. Or he could fire off the Tri-Brigade Revolt. So if he fires off the Revolt, because obviously he's not going to want to waste it, Shurag's going to hit the field. All those Tri-Brigade things are going to proc. So you're going to have, I don't know, what's their name, Kit and all those guys activating their effects. And then what we're going to end up with is a banish. So I'm assuming that they're going to banish the Haggith. In fact, I wouldn't set that until main phase 2 actually. So they'll banish the Haggith. Main phase 2, I would set my Emergence. And then I would pass turn to my opponent. Now they'd go through draw standby phase, and then I would activate my Megalith Emergence, and I would bring back my Megalith full. Now, because Fool was correctly summoned, I can actually bring him back. He's now a level 2, by the way. I put him in the middle zone because I want to play around Geonate and Transversa. And then I'll proceed to let my opponent do some stuff. And then at any point, because he's got no negates left on field, well, probably at the start of the phase, I would activate my Fool effect. And what Fool will allow me to do is tribute Bethor to, as cost, to be able to ritual summon from deck another Bethor. Now, Bethor allows me to pop cards on the field equal to the number of ritual monsters in grave, which I've got 2, so I'll be able to take out 2 monsters. So these 2 monsters will get popped, obviously triggering the Omen. Now, I wouldn't do it straight away, and it would be highly dependent on what they play next, but just play for test hand's sake that these 2 monsters get popped. And that is Boardbreaker, ladies and gents. Now, it's not the most optimal way to break that board, but with the hand that I had, there wasn't much more that I could have done to be able to do so. I've still got 2 monsters on field, which is good. So should they survive, and I have some pretty high defenses, I should be able to go on some extra deck plays next turn. And I've also still got Megalith Emergence. If that survives, I could then potentially get another Megalith monster out of grave if either of these die, because they were both correctly summoned, apart from the ones that are in grave already. But these 2 are correctly summoned, so Emergence should be able to proc. So yeah, that is a decent first attempt at breaking a board. So let's get into number 2. Okay, we are here, Boardbreakers test hand number 2, featuring Megaliths. Now, this is actually a good way to test, ladies and gents, and this is something that I kind of do quite frequently, to be honest. It is a little bit difficult because you're trying to think like how an opponent would think, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's bad in the sense that you can't obviously think how another person thinks directly, but it's good in a sense that you can understand where the interactions may lie. So for example, if you're trying to get rid of a back row, you're trying to force it out, there's a few things that you could do to be able to do that. So it is a good bit of practice, as well as being able to combo off under a board presence, which is something that you're not actually taught when you're building the deck. You just build the deck and assume that you're going to be able to do your combo, but hey ho, it is what it is. All right, so we shuffled up. Let's cut this 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways. Make sure that this is really good and shuffled, and let's see what we get off the rip. Preparation of rites, fantastic. Manju, fantastic. Chalice slime, which is beautiful. Megalith Fool. Megalith emergence again, it's a one-off, that is crazy, as well as a Bethor. Okay, decisions. Okay, so quite a few plays here, and there is an ability to get some major extension. So the first thing I am going to do is normal summon my Manju. Now the reason I'm normal summoning my Manju is mainly because it's a normal summon, so it is more likely to get hit by the Appaloosa negate, because it's going to add me a ritual monster. Now if they're clever about it, they would definitely negate that, mainly because I could be playing Drytron and it would be able to add me a Benten, and it could be just doing a whole host of other things. It could be searching hand traps, for example, Ravis, for example. So we'll assume that my opponent would negate that because it is a normal summon, so my normal summon's burnt. But fortunately enough, this deck does not rely on its normal summon, and I do have a few extenders in hand. So I am going to attempt to go into battle phase here, mainly because Manju's on 1400, Appaloosa is now on 800 because it's already used the negate. So I'll go into battle phase. Now again, my opponent's got a couple of decisions here. Now, if I was my opponent and you see just a Manju on board and I'm going to attack over the Appaloosa, I would potentially let it die because he could potentially foresee some future plays coming up and he knows I'll just want to clear the negate off board. So I'll go into the battle phase and I would attack over the Appaloosa. Appaloosa will die, so there's no more negates on board, but I've still got a Manju for some ritual fodder. So main phase 2 now. Let's see what we've got. We have got a few options, so I would activate Bethor's ability. So I discard Bethor to ritual summon my Megalith Fool using my Manju as the cost. So Fool will hit the board and then I will activate Fool's effect. So then Fool will allow me to add back a ritual monster from my graveyard and it becomes that level. So that ritual monster is now, Megalith Fool is now level 8 and I'll add back the Bethor. Now again, if I was my opponent, I'd still be holding my negates because I haven't actually done anything too threatening just yet. I've got a 2000 defense, Megalith Fool on board. And nothing else really, but I really want to force that negate. So I would activate Fool's effect here to tribute the Bethor as cost to be able to ritual summon Megalith Bethor from from the deck. So obviously when Bethor gets summoned, I can target cards on the field equal to the number of ritual monsters in grave and destroy those cards. So obviously I'm going to target a back row, and in response they're going to flip their Tri-Brigade Revolt, which will allow them to do their Tri-Brigade things, summon Omen, and whichever one they banish, it's not really a problem to be honest. So let's assume that they banish, I don't know, Bethor for example, because one's in grave. In fact, no, they're going to banish the Fool because the Fool can actually play on their turn. So they'll banish the Fool if they read cards correctly. So we'll get rid of the Fool. Fool's gone. He's been banished through Omen's effect. Now, in our hand, we've still got Chalice Line and Preparation of Rites. So there's a couple of things that we could do. So I would activate the Preparation of Rites, searching myself out find it. Megalith Ophiel. Probably could have did this in let's not put him in the grave. Probably could have did this in a different order, to be honest, because I just realized Preparation Rites could have added back my ritual spell, but it's not a problem. So we'll reveal the incantation Chalice Slime and then pitch Chalice Slime as cost to be able to special summon out a incantation monster from the deck. And in this instance, we're gonna go with, where is he gone? Not you, not you, not you. Candle. Candle effect will proc to allow me to add a incantation or ritual spell from deck to hand. And in this instance, we're gonna add, go find it, incantation Inception. Now this is where the pebble rolling comes in, ladies and gents, which makes things a little bit awkward. So if you see on the field now, I've got a Megalith Before and I've got an incantation Candle on field. Now ideally I would want to get rid of the Before and leave the incantation on field to be able to use my Inception from graveyard to then get another search by sending it to graveyard and special summoning it. But the pebble ruling states that I can't overpay cost for a ritual summon. So once I've hit the cap of 4, which is the Ophiel in hand, which I want to get rid of, well, get onto the field, I can't use the Before. So the Before literally has to sit on field while I tribute off the Candle for the cost of the ritual summon, because I can't actually use the Before. So if you didn't know, ladies and gents, have a look at the pebble ruling. It is a little thing that I didn't actually realize, which prevented me from playing Megaliths as it was. So I'm going to activate my Inception using the Candle as cost, ritual summon my Ophiel. Ophiel effect will proc to add me a Megalith monster. So I add my Haggith. And I have an emergence in hand as well, ladies and gents. And I proc Ophiel's second effect to use himself as cost to be able to ritual summon the Haggith. Haggith effect will then proc because it's been ritual summoned to add me a Megalith Unformed. Then I'm gonna fire off the Unformed. I will use the Before in this instance to, as cost, the ritual to pay ritual cost, to ritual summon out another Ophiel. Ophiel's effect will then proc again because it's been ritual summoned, so it will allow me to add a Megalith monster from deck to hand. In this instance, I will add who should I add actually? This is the question. I know. If I can find it. I'm looking for Megalith Arc, by the way. Seems to be hiding. There he is. So I'll have my Megalith Arc. That'll hit the grave. Then, this is Yawns. No, that is fine. Then I'll activate Haggith's effect. Ritual summon my Megalith Arc. Arc's effect will then proc to be able to allow me to draw one and then discard one. So I'll discard the Ophiel, which is the one that I've just drawn. I would overlay these two into a Gallant Granite. Now remember, in this one, ladies and gents, it's really important to do this. I will detach the Megalith Arc because I've got emergence in hand, activating Gallant Granite's effect to be able to add me a Megalith full from deck to hand. Now, what you notice I'm doing, ladies and gents, is loading up my graveyard with ritual monsters, because once I've procced Fool's Effect, I'm going to be able to get some massive damage on board with a bit of a follow-up after I've used Before, if I could use Before. So Fool's now in hand, I've got a Gallant Granite on board, and then I would set my Megalith Emergence. Now, ladies and gents, I could have played that a little bit differently, but I feel like this is the most optimal way to play the board, because I've got Gallant Granite on field. On my opponent's turn, I can flip my Megalith Emergence and then special summon out my Megalith Arc because it was correctly summoned previously. And then I can use Arc's effect to use itself on my opponent's turn to ritual summon my Megalith Fool. Fool's effect would then allow me to add back and target and add back a ritual monster from my grave. So obviously I'm going to target my Before, and then I will let my opponent do whatever it needs to do, and then when there is an opportunity to say main phase 2, should any of these survive, or even just the end of the main phase, I will activate Fool's Effect, tributing himself, because he can tribute himself as cost, to be able to special summon my Before. Now, depending on my opponent's board state, I should be able to pop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards on my opponent's field. Not that they're gonna have 7, but it just allows me to pop 7 cards basically. And that would definitely get rid of the Omen and whatever else they've got on their field. So yeah, ladies and gents, that is as good as it's gonna get. So we find ourselves at the end of another video. Were there any plays or misplays you think I should have done differently? If so, get at me in the comment section below. I'm always open to some constructive criticism, and it just helps me to get better at the game. And if you did like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.